Hi. Hello, everyone. This is Ifeoma Odolami, immigration attorney from the Delamy Law Firm in New Jersey. We serve clients from all 50 states. As long as you have a family based immigration matter, we are here to assist you and we'll help you with your immigration case. I am an immigration attorney. I'm also an immigrant. And so my passion is to help fellow immigrants get their green cards or become US citizens, right? So today I have a great topic that I want to discuss with you guys. Uh, it's about conditional green cards. What if your conditional green card removal application is denied? What do you do? So, by way of background, let me give you a little information for those that do not know what the I-751 is. There are two types of green cards that you get when you're married to a US citizen. It could be a conditional green card, which is only good for 2 years, or it can be a permanent green card, which is good for 10 years. The difference between a conditional green card and a permanent green card is that a conditional green card, the 2 year green card, is given to you if at the time your green card is approved, you've been married for 2 years or less. So when you get a conditional green card, to get the permanent green card, you have to remove the conditions from the green card. And typically, you're supposed to do that jointly with your spouse. You're supposed to file the I-751 jointly with your spouse to remove the conditions. Now, sometimes happily ever after does not go the way it's planned and things happen. So, in that case, you can actually remove the petition without the assistance of your spouse if you can, under something called a waiver, right? There are four waivers available. It can be divorce. If you're divorced from your spouse, if you're no longer together with your spouse, you can get a waiver to remove the petitions on your own based on the fact that you're now divorced from your spouse. However, you still have to show that it was a valid marriage, it was a good faith marriage, and you still have to provide evidence to prove that if you want to get your I-751 um, conditional conditions removed. You can also remove it in the event of death of the US citizen. You can file on your own to remove the conditions because the US citizen is dead. You can also file based on extreme cruelty or um, battery. If you're in a relationship that is abusive, that you suffered emotional abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, financial abuse, and you can show that this happened to you, USCIS does not want you to be in an abusive marriage because you want to get your green card. So they provide a waiver that allows you to remove your conditions without your spouse. Then the fourth waiver is if it would be a hardship for you to leave this country. Say you come from a country where there's a lot of stuff going back and you cannot go back. For instance, say Venezuela or Haiti or something, maybe a country where there's war, you can't go back. You can also file based on that waiver. All right. So those are the different types of waivers that you can file to get the conditions removed. But what happens if you file jointly with your spouse or on your own, you file to remove your conditions and it's denied? What happens then? So let's explore the reasons why um, your application, the I-751, could be denied. It could be denied due to lack of evidence. USCIS may feel that you have not provided enough evidence to prove either that it was a bona fide marriage or that you suffered extreme abuse or physical battery or whatever it is, or whatever reasons you're given, you didn't give them the information to make your case because the burden of proof is on the person who's trying to remove the conditions. So if that's the case, they would deny it. So what other reasons are there for denying? They could also deny your I-751 if you put in the petition too early. You're really required to put a petition 90 days before the expiration of your conditional green card. So if you file it earlier than the 90 days, they will deny it. Or if you file too late after the 90 days, after the green card is uh, expired, you file later, they could deny it too. Or if there's criminal activity, if they find out during your biometrics that you've had some kind of arrested for some kind of crime, or you've had some kind of criminal charges against you that you were, they may deny it too because of that, and you'd have to explain what happened. I caution you to get an attorney anytime there's any criminal activity linked to your application, either something you've done or something you've been accused of doing. You want to get an attorney. You don't want to play with that. Okay. Also, if you or your spouse fail to attend the interview, they could deny it. The conditional marriage interview. There's another interview usually at the end when you file to remove your conditions. Sometimes they'll schedule you for an interview. In the past couple of years, they've been waiving this interview, but they could still require you to show up for an interview, and if you don't show up, they could deny you for that. And they could also deny you if they feel that it's a fraudulent marriage. So even though you got a green card the first time around, they still continue to look at this relationship. So they can still deny this permanent green card if they felt that you were wrongly given that green card because it was a sham marriage at that time. Maybe they just didn't pick up on it. Or somewhere along the line, they don't believe that it's a bona fide marriage. They can deny you because of that. So the question is, when you receive your denial, what are your options? Well, first of all, the denial letter will tell you why your case was denied, and that's so important because if you know why it was denied, then you can figure out what you need to do. So sometimes a case is denied and you're taken to immigration court. They begin deportation proceedings. In that case, if your case has been denied and you've been given what we call a notice to appear, you want to get a lawyer. You don't even want to mess around with immigration court, okay? The good thing, anyways, is even if you're in immigration court, you still get to present your case. You still get to show that it was a bona fide marriage when you got married. Even if you're divorced now, even if you're no longer with the person, you still get to show that when you got married, the intention was for it to be a real marriage, and it was a real marriage. So you get to present your case before a judge, right, who will adjudicate the I-751, right? Another thing is you can refile. You can refile your petition. So if the denial was because of a lack of evidence, that you didn't produce compelling or credible evidence or enough of what they wanted, of evidence of a bona fide marriage, you get a chance to refile and make your case at that time. And at this time, you also want to get an attorney because you don't get a chance to make it work again. So you want to make sure it works this time. So let me see if there's any comments. Julia Maracho. Hi, Julia. Sure, we want to talk to you. Call us at 973-993-1900. 973-993-1900. We'll be happy to assist you. So let's see. So that's pretty much the little blurb I have for today. And so I'll talk a little about the type of evidence you need to be able to prove that it's a real marriage, right? And then I'll head out because I have something at 3:00. So when you're presenting your I-751 application, you want to present evidence from when you got your green card, right? Because you want to update all the information you gave USCIS. So even though you may still put your marriage pictures and all that stuff you provided before, they really want to see the state of your marriage now. Like, are you guys still together, right? Because they want to see if you continue to maintain a real relationship, right? So you want to update them with, pictorial evidence of your relationship, you and your spouse, with your family members or, traveling, doing fun things. They want a slice of your life, right? You want to have pictorial evidence. You want to have financial evidence showing commingling of your finances, right? Such as a joint bank account. And I have to talk to you about joint bank accounts. It's not enough to just have a joint bank account. Your joint bank account has to show activity that shows that two people are using this account. So you want to show that this account, you're paying bills, or if you have both of you are working, you have maybe your direct deposit coming to the same account. You're paying your all your bills with it. If you have health insurance, you want to have health insurance for you and your spouse. Life insurance, if you bought big item things, such as maybe you bought a house, you have a mortgage, or maybe you leased a new place. Um, Maybe what else? You have a child together, you want to have a copy of the birth certificate, utility bills, you know, driver's licenses, all that kind of stuff, showing that both of you live in the same place. You want to show that you are still together, and it's a bona fide marriage. So if you've gone on vacation, you want to show all of that. If you received, gifts from people as a couple, whatever. But you want to show things that show that this is a real relationship, right? And if and I always advise people when you're doing this I-751 to get an attorney, because USCIS knows that this is the interview that gives you this permanent green card. So they really scrutinize your relationship. And of course, it's not that your relationship is not real, but you have to show them. They're not going to just accept that it's real because you got married and you give them a couple of documents. So the burden is on the applicant or the applicants to show that it's a genuine marriage. Okay, so that's it for today. I don't see any questions, but I'll be back again. I will try to come back tomorrow, and we can, if you have any topics you want me to talk about, feel free to send a text message or send a message to my through my website, and it'll be something we can talk about. So for the rest of you, have a really wonderful week, and I'll be back. Take care.